I was sent this work story time to my inbox, and I do believe that this type of thing is going to happen more often, the way women are excelling in education and the workforce. So I wanted to go ahead and read this. I thought this was an interesting story time. She says, "Hi, Burb. I hope you're well. I have a really eye opening story time to share with you. I was really angry about it after processing it with friends. I know there's nothing I can actually do about it, so this is just a make men lonelier story time and a cautionary tale. I work for a national psychiatric organization that helps low income people. I'm a PhD, and many years ago, I was promoted to a supervisor over a group of employees. One employee was male, 30 years older than me, and decided as a woman I wasn't smart enough or old enough to be his boss, and made it his mission to not follow directions and make my job hell. Eventually, he made a big mistake in his attempt to undermine me and put a client in harm's way to do so. I was finally able to reprimand him because what he did was negligent. He was so angry he decided to resign than to allow me to write him up. The other male doctors weren't as bad as him, but after he made it sound like I was out to get him and had blown his medical mistake out of proportion, then in true male fashion, they aligned with him. Soon they all started being insubordinate and difficult, acting like I had forced him to leave the job. I stood my ground and stayed in that toxic environment for years. I decided I was not going to let a group of insecure men without the education to be in charge run me off. Little by little, each male left for new jobs or to go to other departments or locations. Every time one left, I replaced them with a competent woman. Last year, I grew tired of the job and constant stress and transferred to the West Coast. Most of my team knew what state and city I was going to, but I didn't disclose I would be at a satellite office instead of the main office. My intuition told me not to give out my new office. I'm so glad I did not. A few days ago, I received an email out of the blue from one of the women receptionists I used to work with telling me a severely mentally ill client of ours was relocating to my offices. This particular client, a male, had threatened me some years ago and was banned from our agency due to it. He used to work closely with the older male doctor who resigned, and I always suspected his hostility towards me was due to my employees bad mouthing me to the client. Over the years, I would get updates about the client because they still worked with him at another location. I became really nervous, and since we have a national database, I looked and saw she was right. This mentally unstable homeless man was waiting as a pending new client for medication and services. He had taken a bus for 4 days to our offices on the West Coast. He had taken a bus for days to our offices on the West Coast. Yes, that sounds mentally ill. I immediately went into our system and did a deeper dive to determine what would make him relocate across the country to a place he knows nothing about. I'm not in a big city, but a very rural area. To my shock, I found notes that one of the males that used to work under me and had moved to another department had recently had a random conversation with this guy suggesting about relocating. The notes didn't specify him coming to my area, but it seemed strange that the conversation was being had at all since this was a homeless man, mentally ill with no money and limited resources, and had never left his state in his life. I read more, and it became really obvious to me that this ex male employee had in some way intentionally sent this unstable man to my new location. I don't believe the client knows I work there, as he really did not like me and was misogynistic and was very verbally abusive to anyone who would listen. Luckily, since I don't work in the main office that has the referral, I'm not in immediate danger. I also plan to tell my supervisor about this man to protect any other staff members that may come in contact with him because he has a clear issue with women. However, I cannot believe this so called employee was so hostile towards me that he would encourage a dangerous person to relocate to my new area and apply for services at my agency. The sad thing is, I can't prove he did it, which I'm sure was by design. All my friends agreed this was not a coincidence. This is why women should always choose the bear. Angry, aggressive men will try to find ways to harm you, even use other men to harm you, even if you barely know them. These men do not like women. They will maliciously and intentionally try to harm us because of their egos. I'm very glad I did not give out my exact location, but the fact that a man would do this speaks volumes about their character. I am nothing more than an old boss to this man, and look at what he took the energy to do. Things like this let me know that women are not lying about them attempting to grape, drug, or harm women they barely know. Just look at what someone who only knows me in a professional capacity did. I'm around doctors, for heaven's sakes, and this is what they do. Watch out for these men, and when they are aggressive to you at any time, please be careful about what you share with others. The good thing is I'm safe, but we women need to be vigilant around all men. They are very sensitive, and some are extremely jealous and will try to harm you. It doesn't matter the job or education level they have, they are very angry with women. And the thing that I said about this is going to continue to happen with these men being insecure and jealous, especially as women move up in the ranks. Women are outpacing men in education, and it's going to take a little bit of time, but leadership is overturning. You see what she said. They had men working where she works, but as the men fell off, she was replacing these men with women. I know that is slow going, but what's going to happen as far as leaderships in these management positions, women will be outpacing men in getting these jobs. I do realize that it is a slow situation because there are so many men in top management positions, but women are qualified. So the men are going to continue to be angry when women get these jobs. They're going to put women down. They're going to say that women are DEI hires, that they're going to give all kind of negative reasons why women are getting these jobs. Anything outside of the women actually being prepared and competent in these roles. So I said to her, the way this is going to happen, the way men quit simply because they had a female boss shows how things are going to go as women get more educated and women get more leadership roles. This also speaks to why there is a dearth of men in mental health. More men need to be in mental health, but they need to be in mental health as far as, teaching, or they need to be in counseling roles and therapy and all of that. But they are not. They are falling out of these roles, and they're falling out as more women are going into these roles. There is a phenomenon, a real phenomenon like white flight. If you don't know what white flight is, that's where like black families move into a neighborhood and the white families leave. There is a phenomenon just like that called male flight. And this is what happens when there are women in a typically male dominated profession. Like teaching used to actually be male dominated, but once women started working there, the men left. And so now teaching is a female dominated profession. So this was an article from the University Affairs. I think this is out of Canada, but the findings were out of Zurich. It says, in fact, findings from a recent study at the University of Zurich directly supports the theory that men selectively leave occupations and specializations and devalue them when the number of women in these jobs increases, a concept sometimes called the male flight theory. Men do not want to be underneath women, even if a woman is accomplished and able to do the job and smart or whatnot. They cannot let their ego, they cannot get past their ego and believe that women shouldn't be in leadership roles. And I believe that that is what happened with these men in these roles. This woman came, especially with the first male, this woman came, had the nerve to be younger and think that she's going to be the boss. Many of these dudes are going to fall out of the workforce because of their ego and because women are moving up the ranks. I thought this was an interesting story to share, but y'all go ahead and join the conversation. She shared this as a cautionary tale, so just understand what's coming. Like, comment, and share.